Okay, gremlins. I had gremlins. Jump into my phone and cause me to run out of storage. So I'm continuing on here with part two of the truth, the light, the Christ, and the Antichrist. So I left off basically talking about the nature of as above, so below, and where that comes from. How it comes from the most high point of the crest or the Christ, and when it goes below to the Antichrist or the Antichrist of the wave, right? It becomes so below. Below what? Below the line of truth, below the straight and narrow path, right? When in the Bible, when Jesus talks about, the only way through to God is through me. Well, of course, right? Because he's the Lamb, the Lambda, and he goes through God, the line of truth, God, through God, right? Over and under, right? Let's see here. Where else? Okay. Make a new line here. A new line of truth, right? While this is also called, this is called the Christ, right? The Lambda, the crest. It's also known as, let's see, this upper side would be also known as sonnets. Sonnets, right? Sonnets is of the sun, right? When you're talking about light, then it's of the sun, right? That's why he's the sun, okay? Again, this is the Christ or the crest. This is the Antichrist or the Antichrist, right? When you make a harmonic resonance, right, where it's the identical wave, just on the opposite ends, right? When it crosses these node points, that's where you get the envelope of sound or harmony, right? You can resonate another one even faster, and as long as it is divisible within the first wave, you still get a harmony, right? And they're all called resonances, right? Resonance being of the word sonnets, right? Of the sun, right? So this would be resonance. This would be sonnets, one wave. The second wave would be resonance or reason, right? That's where we get the word reason from, okay? Why is that all accurate? Because these, in the case of sound, which is also S-O-N, but we write it S-O-U-N-D, right? Sound waves, right? This is a sound wave, right? If it's light, it's a lambda, okay? How do we know that? Because it's called sonar if it has to do with water, right? And what was Jesus? He was a fisherman, right? Represented by the fish, the Jesus fish of water, sonic, sound, the sun, right? Doesn't matter how you write sun, it's the same word. S-O-N, S-U-N, S-A-N. It's the same word. Doesn't matter. Doesn't make any difference. Okay? Let's get into, again, I'm going to make another one here. The line of truth, right? One story, 1 second, doesn't matter what you want, one time, doesn't really matter, okay? And let's go ahead and start on this side. And we're going to make big looping. I'm going to find my center node here. A big looping wave, right? This is greater amplitude and greater attitude, right? It's got more volume to it, right? What does this become other than the money symbol? That's why they use that in money, because it's currency, right? If you were to consider this voltage, electrical voltage, Elohim, El means electrical, right? If this was electrical voltage, you would consider it currency. So money uses this same symbol on it for currency. It's like electrical currency. It's like water, right? Because water has to do with sonar, right? It's a wave, right? So it's all the same. It's all the same thing. Okay? This is also where you get the word ISIS, right? ISIS. And that would be represented as this. 2 lines through it, right? It's crossing the line. Okay? It's the Christ on the cross. Now, let's see. One thing I got into was, oh yeah, that I wanted to elaborate a little further on was the nature of signatures and the dotted line and all that. Okay, so whenever you sign something, we've all heard this. Make sure you read the fine print, right? And then sign your name on the dotted line, right? So you do. So oh, okay, yeah, sign the dotted line, but you don't realize what you see something and it just looks like a straight line. Okay, where you'll find this is, let me check my time. Okay, where you'll find this every time without fail is on a check, right? You have the date, you have the numbers up here and things like that, and pay to the order of, and then you got this line, one over here is memo or something like that. This one over here appears as a straight through and through line. It's not. It's a dotted line. Okay? And what do you do there? You sign, right? Here's the thing. That dotted line says something. It's writing. It is the fine print. But you can't read it because you damn near need a microscope to read it. Get yourself a magnifying glass and look at it up close, because you're signing your name to it. And you think it just is you think it's a straight line. It's a dotted line that says something. Those dots are letters. Okay? So pay attention to this stuff. A check is currency also. It's a form of currency, but it's a check. It's a promissory note. And you're promising that you will pay something, that somebody can take that check and exchange it for currency, your currency. Okay? Pay attention to this stuff. Okay, let's see. Another thing I wanted to notice on was the nature of anti, because everybody just goes, oh, the Antichrist, it's bad, it's bad, it's bad. But the only reason why people think it's bad is because the upside is positive, the underside is negative, as above, so below. That's the only reason why. If it's electrical currency or if it's magnetic flow or whatever it may be, you're going to have a positive and negative every time. You have to. It has to exist. There must exist an evil for a good to exist, and vice versa, right? So, anti. How do I know that anti means the same as the first thing? Think of the word antipasta. I already got into that, right? Well, you have pasta. Everybody knows what pasta is, right? And there's various kinds of pasta. Well, they have something called antipasta. They call it antipasta because it's the same as pasta, but it's usually just a finer noodle. Like it's a smaller noodle. That's it. It's the same. It's just, okay, what's another example? Is anti-venom, right? So on the above, you got venom, right? If you get bit by a snake, right, and you get venom in your blood, what will you need to stop the venom from spreading or getting and making you feel worse? Is you're going to need the anti-venom. Anti-venom comes from venom, right? What they do is they actually milk the venom out of the teeth of the snake, right? And then they produce an anti-venom and give it to you, right? Is it bad? Is it evil? Or is it there to heal you? What was Jesus? A healer, right? So anti-venom, right? So what would the Antichrist be? Think about it. Let's see, I did as above, so below, attitude, amplitude, positive, negative. All right, here we go. This one's going to be good. This one should blow your doors, all right? Check my time. Good. Here we go. Another straight line of truth, all right? Okay. Center point right here. Let's go ahead and make the lambda wave or the sine wave, however you want to use it. Right? Okay, like I was saying, to create the resonance, you're going to produce a secondary wave that is the opposite of the first wave, but is on the same measure. It's on the same frequency as the first, right? So you get harmony. All right? Now what I was saying earlier is if you take these and you split this in half at the 3/4 point, because this is one whole, or wholly, right? And you cross this off and you get the Jesus fish, right? Already explained that. Watch this. Watch what happens. You get the cross, right? Of Christ that he was crucified on. This is the cross, aka the crucifixion, right? You got node point here, node point here, node point here, node point here, right? Node point, node point, node point, node point, node point. Guess what happens? You put a head right here, you put hands right here, and you put feet down here, and now you have nailed to the cross the Lamb of God on the truth, right? Okay? That's what that's from. That's what the cross is. That's why Jesus was crucified, right? He wasn't really crucified. He wasn't really a man who walked around. This is all scientific stuff and spiritual stuff mixed in, tied in, intertwined. Okay, checking my time. Let's see, we're good there. I got that. Let me show you real quick also. I'm going to do another one right here. The line of truth again. We're going to go straight across. Now, let me give you a quick example on this lower one. If you wanted to measure 1.5, right? You would get, this becomes 1, and then if you come up here, that becomes, right, because one whole wave is from this point to this point. That's why it says, you'll always go back to God. You'll always go back to the truth, because if the lambda or the wave starts on the line of truth, to complete one lambda or one wave, you're going to completely go back to the same spot, which is the truth, which is God, right? So this would be one lambda or one wave, and this would be a half, right? Now if you were going to go, let's see here, like so, and put in a higher frequency, right? There's 1, 2. This is really horrible proportions because I'm kind of running out of time here. All right, so you would have 1, 2, 3 lambda, right? AKA tri lambda, or the Trinity, whatever you want to call it. Okay. If it's 2, that would be divinity, right? If it's 3, it would be Trinity. Okay, it's science. Some of the Jews will tell you it's called Zion, but it's science. Okay, Jews. I'm gonna get into that later too. Not in a derogatory fashion, but just to let you know where all that comes from, and that will be probably on a part 3, 3.5, maybe a part 4. I'm not exactly sure because the gremlins came and jumped in my phone. So be well. Talk to you soon.